Hello, welcome to This Is Everything, episode number 11 with my guest, Nick Pratt. First of all, up top, very sorry for those listening when this comes out. It did not come out on time. I usually try to get the new episodes out to you every other Monday morning, first thing, and that did not happen. Had some technical difficulties. Sorry about that. Thanks for still tuning in. Appreciate it. Do better in the future. I do not know what happened. But anyway, so I'm going to go ahead and say the same old thing I always say. Please, 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 please follow State Lines in everything we're doing in addition to this podcast that you're listening to. This is obviously my own personal podcast. We have a couple others under the State Lines Network. So if you're listening on iTunes, you see the little, under the title of This Is Everything, you'll see the author is State Lines. Go ahead and click on that and you'll find all the rest of our podcasts. Or you can always check out state-lines.com. Please go ahead and subscribe to all of them. I promise you they're all good. I'm probably biased, but do it. We have some great stuff coming out and more coming out. So do all that. Follow us, state-lines.com. We're on Facebook, facebook.com/statelines. Twitter @tweetstatelines. Instagram @statelines. And Tumblr is officialstatelines.tumblr.com. And going forward, if you're interested in being a sponsor of this podcast or any of the podcasts that we have under our network, please feel free to drop us a line. The email for that is statelinesmarketing@gmail.com. So, that's pretty much it at the top. The guest for this episode is Nick Pratt. Great guy. We had a great talk. You can follow him on Twitter. It's at Pratt_Nick. Or on Instagram, he's very active there, is npratt86. And follow me on Twitter. I'm at Daniel_Cura. That's the same for Twitter and Instagram. And that's pretty much it. So last thing, real quick, the iTunes shout-outs. Like I said in the last episode, starting something fun. If you leave me a 5-star review, a written review on iTunes, that's the only way I can see your username. Go ahead and leave a 5-star written review, and I will give you a shout-out in the episode. This goes for US iTunes, all you guys listening overseas in other countries. 1, holy crap, that's awesome. 2, go ahead and leave a review. I'll go ahead and search for you. It's a little bit of a search to try to find you guys on iTunes at different stores, but I'll get it done. So please go ahead and leave me some reviews. This week's is Cuban Pete 61. So thank you so much. That's about it. Okay. Sorry, it's a delayed episode. Here you go. Hope you enjoy it. This is Everything, episode number 11 with Nick Pratt. He's Nick Pratt, and you're not.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. We have a special treat for you today. We have the one, the only.
Welcome to the State Lines Network.
You are going just nuts right now.
Oh, man.
Hello.
Well, hello.
Hello, hello.
How are you?
My knees are screaming from last night.
Yeah. So those listening, we went to Halloween Horror Nights last night at Universal, and I feel really old this morning. Today's been rough. Like, I literally, so we got in at 2 o'clock.
Yeah.
We had a hotel, Noelle and I did. Went to bed, woke up at 7, had to drive out back to Tampa by 9, and then I slept until noon.
Really?
And then went out to lunch, and I just woke up a couple minutes ago.
Oh, wow.
And I'm still, my body's just hurting.
Yeah, we didn't get in until at least, I think it was 4 a.m. by the time we got in.
Wow.
And I slept, Eric crashed at my place. And then
I saw his truck back there, yeah.
Yeah, he wasn't going anywhere. I laid the seats down in the back, and he just laid there and slept.
Yeah.
But,
so, you're going to complete the trifecta? We'll count Brad as an old roommate.
The transit roommate?
The old roommate podcasts.
We were going to establish a hammock for him in the back for the longest time.
Yeah.
We never did it.
Yeah. So we used to live together for 3 years. 3 years exactly. And then, but we've known each other since we were in middle school.
Yeah, I think
same kind of story.
You were 2 years behind me, weren't you? I think I was in 8th grade.
Yeah.
And you were in 6th.
Yeah. So we didn't really become friends until high school, I think. And then and then we kept in touch. Something interesting that you're my only friend that was really in the military. So then you went off to the Navy,
Yeah.
Then we kept in touch that way. And then we started living together when you got back.
Yeah. We kept in good touch, mostly through like music and movies and stuff. It was mostly like pop culture talk here and there. And I come home, and every time I come home, you always had a concert that you wanted to go to or something.
Yeah.
We always went. And then your infamous 21st birthday, which was...
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
a lot of fun.
Yeah. We kept in like odd touch. Like I think we just Facebooked a lot, which sounds strange, but we did that, and then ended up. I mean, we always were good friends, but then we all like I was ready to kind of move out of my parents' house at that time because I had just graduated, and then Caesar, who was a previous episode of the podcast, was looking for a place, and then you had just gotten home like officially for good from the Navy. Mm-hmm. So then we all just decided to crash together, and that worked out, I guess, for 3 years. Yeah,
we had a lot of good times in that apartment. I miss it sometimes.
Yeah,
and it's like awkward for the first time in 8 years, finally living on my own.
Yeah,
because I mean, when you're in the Navy, you're living with like 80 plus dudes in one berthing area, 350 plus people on a ship for like 5 years.
Yeah.
And then I live with you guys, and then I live with another set of roommates, and then finally it's living on my own. It's like, I don't know what to do with space. Like, I don't know what to do with my hands. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and then everything just kind of being yours.
Yeah.
I can imagine, yeah. Well, and then now, I guess, also, funnily enough, you live right behind us now. Right behind me and my wife.
Yeah. I can't believe that happened.
Yeah. So
I'm not going away anytime soon. So.
Yeah, we're not roommates, but we might as well be. Like, I can see your car from my backyard.
When are we going to establish the tin cans and the string?
Right. Just when you get a zip line from, like, window to window.
like the Goonies?
Yeah.
Data coming in.
Oh, so good. But yeah, so I guess we can kind of talk about whatever.
Sure.
This would be fun to... do you want to talk about some of the Navy stuff? Because I know...
Yeah, sure. We can go over
That's
everything.
interesting to me. Just, I mean, we don't have to, like, go deep into it, but...
Sure.
Like, how was that?
There are times I do miss it, not for the stuff that I had to do, but more so the people. Because when you're out there at sea for 6 to 8 months at a time, with a ship with 350 plus, sometimes 1,000, sometimes more, depending on the ship that you're on.
Yeah,
you become family. I mean, you see everybody every day, all day.
Yeah,
you have quarrels. Like you do with a family and friends,
yeah.
And you have good times, and you love each other and whatnot, and you get through the hard times with humor and occupying your time with video games and movies and whatnot. But it was a good time. I wouldn't trade it for anything. I needed it.
Yeah,
because I think I was 20 years old, and I was living at home with my mom and stepdad, and I went to college for a semester and flunked.
Yeah.
I missed a C by 1 point. Missed it by that much. And I wasn't going back to school. I had no aspirations to go back to school. I didn't want to. I was working at Subway.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, I worked there for like 3 years too long.
So the full 3 years.
Yeah. And my parents, they sat me down and they were like, hey, if you're going to live here at home, you're going to start paying some rent. And this is what it's going to cost to live here. Yeah. And it was a real eye-opener because I'm working at Subway. I'm not making much money. Yeah. And I want to go to school, but I can't because then again, I'm not making much money. So it was a real kick in the ass for me to do something better, find another avenue, something that would jumpstart me into life. Like, I needed that kick. Yeah. And so, originally it was Coast Guard.
I think I remember you talking about that back then, yeah.
And a snafu happened with the recruitment process, so I ended up going Navy instead. And 6 months after signing up, shipped out, boot camp. Yeah. My first day of boot camp was my 21st birthday. I did not tell them it was my 21st birthday.
I remember that, yeah.
And it's, I remember that getting to the airport the night in Chicago O'Hare, because Navy boot camp is about an hour north of Chicago, Great Lakes Naval Base. Okay. And I remember getting off the plane, and there's this guy in his white uniform, and he's got this red rope on his shoulder, which, if it's a red rope, they're a drill sergeant, but it's called RDC. I forgot what it stands for, but one of the many different abbreviations. And I remember he said something to me, and he's like, "Give me your file." And I said, "Yes, sir." And he goes, "Don't ever call me sir again." It's like, "Okay, sir." He's like, "You will address me as petty officer and only petty officer from here on out, as well as my friends." I'm like, "Okay, sir, petty officer." And I think we got to boot camp. It was like 3 a.m, and it was just nonstop.
Yeah.
For the next 24 hours. Boot camp's 2 months. They groom you.
Mm-hmm.
They establish that uniformity, how you're supposed to live life, whatnot. And then got stationed in Pearl Harbor after that.
Yeah, I remember that. You were one of the few that got stationed out there, right?
Yeah. They had this thing. Well, I should probably go between after you graduate boot camp, you go to your A school where you learn your craft, your job, pretty much. And I was going to be a hospital corpsman. I was going to be a medic per se, but I dropped out because I didn't understand anything that was going on, all the Latin terms and whatnot. Nope.
Yeah.
I learned my Latin through Three Stooges, which was mostly Pig Latin, Eri Le and Ome and Early K. So if there's any Three Stooges fans out there, listeners, you know what I'm talking about. Anyways, dropped out, became an undesignated seaman, which is basically what a bosun's mate is, and they do like ship preservation work and whatnot.
Yeah.
And random jobs at the ship. Got stationed on a cruiser in Pearl Harbor for 2 years. It was fun out there. I was with a good group of guys in the division. Mm-hmm. Learned a lot. My chief, he was an angry Filipino who yanked his tooth out in front of me with a Gerber. He was a hardened guy that probably, I think he was like a few years shy of retirement.
Really?
But it really gave me discipline and structure. I mean, I had good discipline growing up with my parents.
Yeah.
You know, my dad was a firm believer in that. But the military really molded me into someone that understood the importance of responsibility. Mm-hmm. And it gave me motivation, determination.
Yeah.
A good code of ethics as a human being.
Sure.
That was my first 2 years, and did a lot of work on the flight deck, drove the ship, drove small boats, and then after Pearl Harbor, went to San Diego for a couple of years. Yeah. I think that's when our friendship really blossomed, was when I was stationed in San Diego.
Yeah, I remember we talked a lot while you were out there.
Yeah.
But also, correct me if I'm wrong, but when you were in Pearl Harbor, I think we talked a bit, but it was just a little bit harder too. Whether it be like the time difference or like, I can't remember what. But
it's a 6-hour time difference between here and Hawaii, and it sucked. As a sports fan, watching football, it's horrible. Yeah, it starts at like 7 a.m. Nobody wants Miller Lite at 7. Well, maybe they do. I don't. I just love having hot chicken wings and blue cheese at 8 a.m.
For breakfast. You made some buffalo pancakes.
I picked up a new job in the Navy and became a quartermaster at ship's navigation. I worked with the charts on board. I plotted courses from where we were going on deployment, from home ports where we were going on deployment. Responsible for all 10,000 gaggle fuck of charts on board a ship. It's just maddening how many there are. I did that for 2 years out in San Diego, and that was probably my favorite.
Really?
My favorite home port, favorite station.
Yeah, I remember you telling me like you liked Pearl Harbor and Hawaii for a while, and then after a while it kind of lost its luster.
Yeah.
Yeah. Which I can see that.
Yeah, well, it's like, it's an island, so you can only go so far.
Yeah.
I mean, it was cool seeing where they filmed Lost. It was cool seeing Jack Johnson playing out on the beach.
Yeah.
Saw that.
Yeah, you told me about
that. But yeah, after you do everything the island has to offer, it's like, well, where can I go next? Well, then, there's other islands. You can go to Maui or Kauai, the other islands. So after that, what's next? What do you do after that?
Yeah.
Nothing.
Yeah, it's true.
So San Diego, at least, you can sprawl out. You can go to Vegas, like 4 hours away, which I have yet to go to. Never been to Vegas.
Yeah.
You've been a couple times.
Yeah, I've been quite a few times with Jason, who was also a past guest with his nonprofit.
Yeah.
But we've never done like the quote unquote Vegas trip. Like we've done like some of the nonprofit outreach work, and we've had fun and gone drinking or whatever. But like not like your quintessential.
You mean you didn't
Las
do the
Vegas.
Hangover?
No.
Okay, well, you didn't live when you were there.
But yeah, it's fun. But yeah. So yeah, I just think that's interesting because I think you're probably one of my only best friends that is. I'm trying to rack my brain. It might be somebody might be yelling at their computer.
It's me.
That like went through the military and stuff. But yeah. So then, yeah, I remember we got home and then we were just like buckling down trying to find apartments. And then we just. I don't know. That was a really good time. I liked living together. And that was the first time you and Caesar had. I mean, you'd always obviously lived away from home at that time, and Caesar lived because Caesar's parents lived in West Palm while he was in school. So like that was my first time like being like living on my own. I lived at home all through college just because to maintain my budget and everything. So yeah, I don't know. I think it was cool living with you guys. I don't know how living by myself immediately after being with my parents all the time, but it was fun. We had a lot of good times. I miss it too sometimes. Like the other day, I was just like, it sounds super cheesy, but like, I think I like woke up, or like, I was having like one of those like pseudo dreams before you wake up. Yeah. And like for some reason, I just pictured like the hallway to my old bedroom, and I was like, "Damn, I missed that apartment!" Like
with the Space Jam poster. That's all, folks.
And the Batman poster.
Oh yes.
Oh, it was such a nerdy
and that
place.
Casablanca poster that I bought.
So yeah. I mean, we had good times. It was always like it's something you do take for granted. It's definitely work to for us like to put into now, but like you definitely take for granted just like knocking on your door, like, "Hey, you want to watch a movie?
Yeah.
You want to build a snowman?
Play some Mario Kart? You want to yell your heads off?
Yeah.
Let's go."
Yeah, it's definitely been something the past. I mean, because we got married. I think it was 7 months ago now.
That's nuts.
Yeah. So we moved out of the apartment at around that time, maybe 8 months. I think I moved out maybe a month prior.
I think you moved out in January.
Yeah. Yeah. So
that's so much crap to do. No, I'm just kidding.
That's yeah. So that's something I've been learning, like just making sure. Because you get for 3 years, you get so used to just like your best friends being like in the living room, or you just sit down and watch TV or do whatever. So it's definitely something to work on. Yeah, making sure you put that effort into. So
it's weird. Like you don't want the noise when you're in your room. You're like, oh god, they're out there watching this movie. But then like when you live on your own, you're like, I miss that noise.
It's quiet. Yeah,
it's so weird. I miss that noise.
Yeah, I've never lived by myself. I was thinking about that when you told me you were moving in and how much you're excited to like live by yourself again. Yeah. And like because I went from home to that and then to being married. So, I mean, obviously I live with my wife, but I mean it's different, but I think being married is the closest to quote unquote living by yourself. Sure. At least that I'm ever going to get to because I mean, Noelle and I are such kind of the same people. She works a lot of late nights, so I get to just come home and just watch shows that she doesn't like watching.
Yeah. American Horror Story.
She enjoys. Yeah, she enjoys. She's in the same boat as I am. I like it. I always fall off, man.
I agree with you when you say 8 episodes.
I think it should be 8 episodes.
It should be 8 and at the minimum 6. I think
start like it did now, a couple weeks before Halloween, done by around Thanksgiving. Yeah. Before the holidays really hit, I just don't know. I mean, I enjoy horror movies and everything. I can watch them anytime, but for some reason, I can't get behind that show with like the Halloween feel past like once I'm going into Christmas and stuff. I'm just like,
you mean you don't like having your holiday eggnog over a bloodbath in a hotel?
I don't know. I feel like, but yeah, I guess that's something we can go into. Like you are the movie buff of our friends.
It's absurd.
You always always have been.
I still haven't fully unpacked at my place.
Yeah.
It's slow progress.
Mm-hmm. I mean, we'll look at our place.
I don't know what you're talking about.
We've been here 7 months, and we still have art and everything all over the place.
You guys, it's just a lot of art you want to look at.
We need to hang up. That's the goal, is to hang up all that stuff before the Halloween party in 2 weeks. So I don't know if that's gonna happen, but
you got plenty of time. But yeah, I was putting up my movies today, but more movies. And I'm looking through my boxes, and I have like the dumbest movies. Like I have Bangkok Dangerous, that horrible Nick Cage movie. Like, why the hell do I have that?
Because it's a Nick Cage movie, and you have to.
And I was like, there was a spurt before I joined the military where like I would go to Best Buy and buy 3 movies over the weekend, like every time.
That's crazy.
And I still did it when I was in Pearl Harbor. So I just buy movies. I didn't care what they were. Never saw them, just buying them.
Huh.
So yeah, it's like I said, it's absurd. It was like an addiction.
Yeah, I can imagine. Yeah, I went over because I had to stay at your house while you're at your brother's graduation. So
yeah.
I was waiting there while they put in, since we live 30 seconds away from each other.
I'm very grateful.
Yeah, they were putting in your internet and your, was it cable? Well, no, just pretty much your internet.
Yeah.
So I was just hanging out. I think I watched like the Matrix series or one of them or something, but just opened up one of your closets and it was just like floor to ceiling movies, just DVDs. But yeah, I remember just like when we lived together, I would just like text you if you weren't home, like, hey, I'm gonna go steal some movies, and then like you just had boxes upon boxes and then like shelves and then of like whatever. Do
you have this movie? Wait.
Oh wait, it's in the other.
Let me pull out this compendium of movies.
But yeah, that's always been fun because you have like. And when we lived together, I learned a lot about just like movies that I hadn't seen, and that's kind of like something Noelle makes fun of me for because I never really like watched a lot of the movies I quote should have watched growing up. Sometimes, I mean, so I got to catch up on a lot of stuff from your library.
Yeah, it was crazy when we lived together because I remember Caesar's like, I've never seen Goonies. I'm like, oh,
yeah,
what?
Yeah.
So there's that, and. I always have so much fun showing people new movies. Like when we watched Blade Runner together. Yeah. I was so giddy when we were watching that because I love that movie so much. It's such a good movie.
I'm the same way. I definitely enjoy watching something for the first time with somebody else, but then it's kind of like, it's the same kind of thing like introducing a friend to like one of your favorite bands. And, like, enjoy seeing their reaction to something that you enjoy is always fun. Same thing with movies or whatever. But... yeah, so you write scripts and you're doing your DIY filmmaking stuff. You want to go into that a little bit?
Sure.
I mean, you've written for as long as I've known you, so.
Yeah, well, I've tried to. What happens is I'll get an idea in my head and I'll start writing, and then like 10, 15 pages in them, I get another idea in my head. I'm like, well, I don't want to do this one anymore. Now I want to do this one because this is a cooler idea. Or something will happen where like, I'll start writing. As what I'm trying to get into, independent filmmaking, I guess. We'll call it that. And trying to get into is just lost train of thought.
You'll start something and then you'll bounce around.
Start something, I'll bounce around. I get ideas and whatnot, and then I'll start writing, and then what I'm writing is beyond the means of my budget.
Yeah, you've told me that.
Yeah, like, and that's a huge problem. But I love the idea so much that I want to keep fleshing it out. Mm-hmm. And by the time it's done, it's like, well, this probably would work well as a novel.
Interesting.
You know, because it's beyond what I can do right now.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I can't do what somebody with thousands of dollars can do. You know.
Yeah, that's super interesting. So like, will you'll finish it with the idea of like coming back later, or
yeah, or you know, I'll set it aside.
Yeah.
To when I have a greater idea or understanding of what I really want. Because I never have an outline when I'm writing.
Yeah.
Almost. And I know that when some writer that's listening is probably like, that is a horrible thing to do. Like, you always have to have an outline. No, it usually just comes freeform. It flows naturally when I'm writing. Like I'm writing a scene, and then I already know what the next scene's going to be as I'm writing.
Based off what you're doing right now.
Based off what I'm doing right now.
Yeah.
And it's worked out pretty well with a couple.
Mm-hmm.
My success rate's probably the success of the Cubs right now. But, I mean, well, they're coming back.
So you're doing good this year.
I'm doing good this year. I finished that one, and I sent it to you.
Yeah. I have it in my email. I need to check it out still.
Back to the Future predicted that the Cubs would win.
And then Nick would finish the script.
That's the deleted scene that they didn't put in. I think that movie was made. Well, I think the first one was made in '86, or it was released in '86. I think the second one was maybe a year or two later.
Yeah.
So I was born.
Yeah.
When number 2 came out.
It checks out. The timeline checks out. I mean, if not, it's time travel. They can still make it work.
Right.
Just, yeah, man, I love those movies. I rewatched them. I think it was probably around this time last year.
Yeah.
I hadn't watched them in a long time, but yeah.
October 21st is when they go to in the future.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And they're releasing that new Blu-ray for it. Mm-hmm. But yeah, man, like that's probably one of the only few of those movies that like I did watch that I should have watched. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I don't know, man. When I was a kid, for some reason, I don't know. I just didn't watch a lot of that. Not even like as a kid, but just growing up. Mm-hmm. And I think a part of it was like once I got into like the high school years, where you really start like finding and watching all those old like quote unquote like classics or like the things that are like the cult classics now. I was so busy because I mean we were in band together, marching band and stuff in high school. And that, like, took so much of my time in addition to, like, the other stuff I was doing. So I just don't think I really had time to, like, consume stuff. Yeah. But
I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
No, I see, I always grew up around movies and pop culture. My dad, we would watch everything that he watched when he was a kid together. All the, like, 1950s, like, 60s TV shows.
That's cool.
And whatnot. So I remember my first movie experience being Jaws.
Okay.
With my mom and dad in the living room. Mm-hmm. And I was okay up until the point where the blood geyser happens when the kid gets eaten.
Oh, yeah.
And that camera just zooms in on Roy Scheider's face, and you're like, ugh. And then when Richard Dreyfuss goes scuba diving to check out that boat that's missing, and there's a hole in the side of the boat, and that decapitated head rolls out with the shark tooth comes out of it. And Richard Dreyfuss is like, because he's underwater. And that, like, John Williams, score chimes in.
That head every time, man.
It's terrifying.
Yeah.
I was, like in Family Guy when Stewie's shaking because he's frightened. It's pretty much me at 5. It's like, why would my parents make me watch this?
Yeah.
From there on in, I think my dad was like, oh, it's okay. If you watch that, he can watch all kinds of other horror movies. Yeah. And my mom was like, that's not a true story. And when this happened, we were living behind a cornfield in Findlay, Ohio. Mm-hmm. And this is house in Findlay, Ohio, behind a cornfield. And my dad would, we'd watch Night of the Living Dead and Evil Dead and X-Files. Yeah. Kolchak the Night Stalker, which is like pretty much the inspiration behind X-Files. And my dad had a birthday party one time, and it was a big kegerator. Yeah. Or kegerator? Kegger. The previous house I lived in had a kegerator. I got it on my mind. Intergalactic kegger. Might as well have been one, from what I remember. But my dad was a basketball coach at a high school. And he played ball with a few guys around town and whatnot. And he had them all over. And there was this big, like, 6'4" guy, 6'5", dude. Mm-hmm. And he came up to me and told me this ghost story. And it was just about this guy that, like, got his arm chopped off and it got replaced by a golf club. and like, he lived in our cornfield and he fed on children and he drove a white car. And oftentimes, like, I never saw the white car, so I don't know what you're talking about. All of a sudden, this white car comes careening through the yard, from the front yard all the way to the backyard, and goes right into the cornfield. And all of a sudden, I hear all this yelling going on. But I hear laughter as well. Yeah. So I don't know what's going on. I'm like 5 or 6 years old at this point. And the big 6'5" guy runs into the cornfield after telling me this horrible story. And my mom's like, let's go in the cornfield. I'm like, no.
Let's go to therapy instead.
Yes. Did you not hear what he just said? There's a guy with a golf club arm that feeds on children. He's in there. We go in. Well, it turns out they were in there having a corn stalk war. They were taking corn off and throwing it at each other. That's what all the screaming and laughter was for.
That's awesome. Oh, that's so good.
And then, so I grew up around, like... Yeah. Like horror movies, and we went on a camping trip, and his other friend dressed up in a werewolf outfit and scared me. So I turned out okay.
Just with a deep love for horror.
But deep love for horror. My dad introduced me into that world, and then James Bond and Indiana Jones and Star Wars and all these films that we watched and Godfather and at a young age. And while I was watching that, everyone's watching Aladdin and Lion King.
Hey man, don't make fun of me. I like those movies. I watched Lion King last week.
Yeah,
I promise. I was like, I need to watch that movie again.
I watched it too. I think we saw it in theaters when it came out. It was either that or Aladdin. I can't remember which one we saw.
Those two movies, man, they still hold up.
But it wasn't until I want to say middle school when I started discovering like Quentin Tarantino and Oliver Stone and like John Carpenter.
That's the appropriate time for Quentin Tarantino.
Yeah. People ODing and getting stabbed in the heart with adrenaline shots.
You're just on an accelerated timeline.
At that point, everyone's watching Triple X. Fast and Furious.
Oh man!
But is that and David Lynch started getting into in high school, and it really set the mold for how I write and Kevin Smith movies.
Yeah.
I love dialogue and movies. Especially driving dialogue is I can take that over, a huge CGI scene. Just give me two guys, give me good conversation, and I'm in. I'm all in.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm always kind of attracted to, like, especially, I mean, I've noticed now just, like, the way, like, I'll speak personally, like, but we're all kind of, like, so, like, sucked in on our phones and whatever, like, really putting the focus in, like, just, like, putting the phone down and, like, watching a movie or whatever. But, like, though, like, we watched Fargo the other day for the first time.
So good.
Noelle and I had never seen it, so we watched it, and that was one of those movies where, like, if you're kind of not paying attention, like if you're not like staring at the screen and if you're on your phone, like you miss like a lot of it. Like there's just a lot of just like subtleties that happen, because I feel like sometimes a lot of people watch, and I do it too, watch more by listening than by actually watching. And but if you're not, like, that's one of those movies where I feel like if you're not actually watching, you'll miss like a lot of the subtle like facial expressions or like the one-off like reactions and stuff. But
that's Coen Brothers for you. That's all their movies. The Big Lebowski. I think I watched The Big Lebowski for the first time while we lived together. That was one of those ones, like, again, like I never watched, and then like I was like halfway through, and I think I texted you and I'm like, yep, I love this movie. Oh, it's incredible. Jeff Bridges. There's nobody else that can play that role. Everybody's cast perfectly in that movie. It's
so good. That, man, coming like the coffee can ash scene, like I don't know if I was like in a disillusioned state, because I mean, not to take it like dark or whatever, but like we had just at that, I think it was like soon after my stepdad had just died, and we like spread his ashes. But then I watched that movie and I just couldn't stop laughing. I was like, like I think it was like the dark joke I needed like at that time, and I just like I think I rewound it like 3 times and just watched it. It was so good.
Coen Brothers are another big influence. They're dry humor. Barton Fink is another one they did. I think I let you borrow it one time. I don't know if you ever watched it.
I don't think I gave it back to you. I do need to watch that now that you mention it.
John Turturro's in it, and John Goodman is in it, and I think John Turturro, he's a screenwriter in L.A., and I think it's like the Roaring 20s, or it's the 30s or something like that. I can't remember off the top of my head, but he's got writer's block. Okay. I was trying to flesh out this screenplay, and it's cool because you want to think that he might be in purgatory or something. Because this hotel he's put in is it's horrible. It's like falling apart, and John Goodman's this obnoxious neighbor who won't leave him the fuck alone. And L.A. is like hell. Like it's just the studio execs are like Lucifer and whatnot.
Interesting.
It's pretty cool.
I'll have to check it out.
That and Miller's Crossing is another really good. They went Mafia with that one.
Okay.
It's really good.
Everything I've seen by them is just I'm always a sucker for dry humor. And I think it's probably because sometimes I have dry humor. I mean, not all the time, but like, I don't know. Sometimes I'll just laugh at shit that nobody else laughs at. And then they look at me like I'm crazy. But man, I can't get enough of it. It's so good. So I mean, you're talking about that movie and like writer's block and stuff. I'm interested in how do you deal with writer's block? Do you like get it a lot? Because I do a lot.
Yes, I do. And I think how I deal with it is I go back to my roots. I go back to what inspires me and what influences me. And if that's watching Evil Dead, if that's watching Escape from New York, if it's watching David Lynch movies or Tarantino, it's I'm going back to what drives me to do what I want to do. Yeah. And accomplish that.
Interesting. Yeah, I always kind of automatically... I think I was listening to... I forgot what podcast I was listening to. But there are a couple of musicians on there, and they're talking about, like, that's their job. Like, just writing music and stuff. And they had to teach themselves not to do what they used to, which is kind of what I do, which is just, like, if you hit a block, just kind of... It's easy to, like, walk away from it for a while. And sometimes that's the thing you need to do, is just, like, walk away or either turn your brain off, quote unquote, turn it off for a little bit and wait for, or just like work on something else. You know what I mean? Yeah. But they, whoever, I can't remember who it was, but they said they really had to train themselves to just like sit and just write through it. Like, and it was a really interesting discussion as far as like you might not like it, like you'll probably have to go back and redo it. But, like, to just write through it and then just writing through that block and knowing that you'll probably have to go back and revisit it, like, that it's okay, but it'll still kind of, like, push you through. Because it's easy to jump to another thing and then kind of let that... just making sure you finish what you start.
Absolutely.
And then kind of just go back and tweak it if you need to. Yeah. But that's just something that stuck out to me because it's very easy for me not to do, to do that.
Because when you're writing, you're like, sometimes you look at it and go, this is crap. Yeah. But what's crap to you might be good to somebody else. Like, that's the weird thing.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's all about your mind and second guessing yourself. It's crazy.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's the thing, too. Just my struggle is always just sitting down and doing. Like, sometimes, like, I've just kicked myself in the ass because I know I'm just, like... Not even subconsciously doing it, but just, like, putting too much effort and just, like, all right, I'm going to go grab a cup of coffee, and then I'm going to go, like, get this done. And then by the time you sit down to do it, it's been, like, an hour, and then you have to go in, like, 30 minutes. You know what I mean? Yeah. So just, like, sitting down and just freaking doing it and getting it done. Yeah. So it just blasted out. But that's the thing, too. I think I'm going to start working on, a lot of people will write first thing when they wake up in the morning.
That's what I do.
Yeah. And kind of, I've heard it described as kind of, like, waking up before your editor in your brain, before before your brain will start being like worrying about what you're writing and like you're still just kind of just like I guess a little bit more creative without holding anything back. Yeah. And then like later on you can go back and see how it is or whatever. But I think I might try giving that a shot. But
it works. I have my laptop next to my bed, so when I wake up in the morning and I want to write, I open it up and that's what I do. I'll have the coffee going and I'll get up and get that. But I think there was a couple we listened to like the same podcasts.
Yeah, we listened to a lot of the same stuff.
But there was a couple of them I listened to. I think one of them was Rob Zombie, maybe. Yeah, and somebody else. It might have been Robert Rodriguez's or something. But they're like, the thing you got when you wake up in the morning, whatever you want to get done, you get it done. Because if you wait throughout the entire day to get it done, you'll never get it done. Yeah. Because you have so many other things to do. Sure. And I've adopted that, and I've realized that's it's true. Because when you wake up in the morning, you're not alert yet. You haven't established what you have to do yet because you're not fully awake. And if you have what you want to get done, what you specifically want to get done right next to you, and that's all you have next to you or in front of you, then you're going to get that done.
Yeah. Yeah, it's definitely a practice. And it's definitely an exercise. I'm trying to get better at it. I get to... Not that I get lazy, but I'm just like that. I just get like I should do this first, and then I should get this done first, and then by the time you get stuff done, especially like when you work a regular job, it's like 11 o'clock at night, and you're like, oh, well, now I got to go to bed.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Yeah, everything's backlogged. Yeah. And then what you wanted to get done, you didn't get done, and at the end of the day, you're like, damn it, I didn't get 5 pages done of something. Or I didn't get this verse done of lyrics or something. So.
Part of my detriment is it's almost too much convenience where like I'll like I have Evernote on my phone, and I'll just jot down notes nonstop, like all day.
Yeah.
But it's almost the fact that it's too convenient to the point where like I won't really go back and flesh them out sometimes, and then when I do go back, it's a little too late. Yeah. And the idea has kind of escaped me a little bit, and I just don't know what the hell I was talking about anymore. So yeah, it's definitely it's like going to the gym, man. It's just a it's a practice you have to like work at.
You go all day.
Yeah.
Working, doing whatever.
Yeah.
I don't know how people wake up and work out. I have no idea, because if I don't have coffee, I'm like Clint Eastwood in Gran Torino.
Yeah.
But yeah, you're right. As you go throughout the day and you prolong everything, you're just not going to do it.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Like, while you're working, at least personally, while I'm working out, it feels great. But like, the drive to the gym or the putting on my shoes is just miserable. But like, once you start doing it, you're like, oh, this is fine. But like the actual, the act of getting to the point to do it is what's kind of brutal.
The prologue.
Yeah.
It's like, well, I have to watch the Star Wars prequels, and then
right.
So, but writing's it's definitely got to be done first thing in the morning.
Yeah. The past couple of years I've kind of toyed with different methods. I've done that same thing, like where like when we lived together, I would try doing that. Like when I would get home from work, I would just kind of like go to my room and try to. But then the thing is too, like sometimes after work, I'm just fried. Yeah. And I do just want to sit on the couch and watch TV, which is cool. Fried. Yeah. So, yeah, it's all about what works for you. I don't think there's a definite answer.
No. What works for you is not going to work for somebody else, and that goes with everything in life. But yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome. But I've had that same kind of thing where like I've had ideas for stories, and I haven't known if they would make better movies or like books or like comics or like I have different stories bouncing around my head, but like it's just sometimes it's tough to choose the best medium to like. I mean, first you just got to write it down anyway. Yeah. But like, yeah, sometimes it's tough to find the best way to portray it.
See, I feel like that goes with going beyond your means when you're writing. You're like, you don't know if this is going to work in this format. Yeah. You're writing beyond what you might be capable of shelling out in the long run. This might be suited for something else. Yeah, exactly. And I hate that. I hate it so much.
Yeah, it's tough, man.
I always, when I'm watching movies and they're low budget movies, they're like, well, we only spent $300,000 on this. I'm like, that's low budget? What? Oh, we only spent $1 million. I have $2,000.
Yeah, it's nuts. But I mean, it's tough, but also, I mean, that's the way. I think that's the way you kind of. There's definitely something that it instills in you, like the obvious example or parallel that I would draw, just because my brain's always kind of thinking in music terms, would be like the bands that. If you take any band, like two artists that are big now, the band that blew up really quickly, or the band that like roughed it in a van for 5 years and they're making it big now, as opposed to like just whoever's big right now kind of thing, but they're big at the same time. The band that roughed it for a while is going to have more of either a lasting impact or like just overall longevity. Yeah, and, you know what I mean? Because they've So same kind of thing, just like learning how to make whatever you're doing work within your budget.
Absolutely.
Like you're gonna appreciate what's happening when it happens, a little bit more, and then like I think just work that much harder.
I think you have to struggle. Yeah, you have to struggle at first to really get there and that level that you want to be at. You have to embrace that. Yeah. You have to realize, and you have to accept failure. Yeah. That builds the character of you, and it helps you progress as a filmmaker or a musician or anything that you do in life. You have to have that low point. You have to have that struggle. Yeah, because that is the ultimate stepping stone. True. Is that point in life, and there's going to be multiple times where you have those failures and struggles. Yeah, but the outcome is going to be so rewarding from that.
Yeah, I mean, and that's something that's important to like. I mean, everything. I mean, I don't know. I can't speak for like very wealthy or famous people.
Yeah.
But like, at the end of the day, everybody is just a person. So if you're, and I feel like it's a little bit different if you're a creative person, because you're always going to kind of, I don't know. I feel like baseline creative people always kind of have like an inner turmoil type thing going on.
Yeah.
So like it's, that struggle I don't think really goes anywhere, no matter how successful you are.
Yeah.
Like, it might have been the same podcast I was listening to. But this woman was an author, and she's had like a #1 best-selling book or whatever. But like, she says she still deals with like self-doubt and worry and all that kind of stuff. And like somebody brought it up to her, and she's like, yeah, but I'm not, like, I have a best-selling book now, but I'm still worrying about if my next book is gonna, you know what I mean? Like, there's always something, at least for the neurotic creative people.
Yeah.
There's always something to worry about. I'm always worried about something.
Yeah, you don't know what your next project's, how successful it's going to be.
Yeah.
I mean, you could, like this author, could be a best-selling book. It could be a Academy Award-winning movie. It could, be Album of the Year or something. But that's that.
It can be so hit or miss. Yeah.
That's you, when you're in that moment, you're constantly worrying about that next moment.
Yeah.
Because creative people, whether it be like an artist or an author or a writer, director, musician, whatever, it's like nothing's guaranteed. There's no security.
Yeah.
In an artist's field.
Oh no, not at all. Yeah.
Because you're working on this thing and it's going great and whatnot, and that's you're in that moment. You are in the moment right there.
Yeah.
And it's great and it's comfortable, but you have no fucking clue.
Yeah.
What the future holds.
Right.
After that great moment.
Exactly. Yeah. I think that's kind of. I think I've heard Louis C.K. mention something along those lines too. Like when people, I'm so bad at remembering details. But somebody mentioned, like, he was, like, the #1 comedian in the world or whatever. And his response was, like, yeah, right now. Like, next year, probably not. It could all go away. So, I mean, enjoy it, but also don't be stupid about it. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, I always get discouraged when, successful people or whatnot, just they get the big head and then...
Yeah. I think it's, especially if you're in they're in the creative field, or like an artist, whether it be like music or writing or movies or whatever it is, like I think you can tell once somebody starts being insincere about it. Like, at least for me, especially like in music, you can start telling when somebody's gotten the big head, or not even the big head, but just gotten kind of used to a little bit of a success and it's affected them kind of. Yeah. And it just, the output doesn't seem, the work doesn't seem at like the sincere level it was, The
quality isn't there.
Yeah.
As much anymore as it used to be when they were starting out.
On the flip side, the production quality of whatever it is could probably be through the roof, but like the, I don't know if you want to say like the emotional quality maybe, is not, you can tell, it's just something weird.
They're phoning it in at that point.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's always a shame when that happens, man. Because, like, it's always hit or miss, because sometimes you could be a fan and you want to see that happen. Yeah. Or even see somebody, like, you get success. And I've never been of the camp of people, like, being mad when a lot of other people like what you like. That's something that happens with music all the time, too, that people will be, like, upset that, like, their band is, like, on the radio now, or... a lot of people know them or whatever. Like, who gives a shit? Like, the whole point is to get people to listen to your music or see your thing or do what you're doing. Like, if you like it, you should want more people, as many people to like it as possible. You know what I mean? Yeah, yeah. And if you care about that artist, let them make some money while they're doing it. You know what I mean? But yeah, I feel like once some can hit a point where like it's almost like too comfortable and. I don't know. It's it can be a drop-off.
They lose focus.
Yeah.
They lose focus on what got them there in the first place.
Yeah. I'm always for bands or artists or whatever I like getting successful, but it's always that gamble of like, man, I hope they don't fuck up after.
I know.
Like, God, please.
Yeah. Yeah. That is discouraging.
Yeah. But, I mean, I guess it's the nature of the beast. So, I don't know. But anything else on your mind, like, creatively, other than like that Star Wars poster that came out today?
Oh my god, that's
So
I want
good.
that so bad in my apartment.
The new Force
Did,
Awakens like classic style poster came out today.
Was it the same artist? That
I don't
did
know.
The previous ones?
It's definitely the same style. I don't know if it's the same artist. Man, it's pretty.
Yeah, that's why. That's what I don't like about posters these days. Is everything's so minimal.
Yeah.
You don't have those posters anymore. Like
Yeah.
like he did back with like Indiana Jones and Star Wars, Back to the Future, the hand drawn like paintings, pretty much.
That's what bummed me out too. Like, this is gonna get super kind of like picky, but like when the Harry Potter movies were coming out, I think it was the first two had that style of artwork.
I was about to say that.
And then even as just like a younger, I mean, the first movie came out when I was like, I don't know, man. I was definitely in middle school. I don't know, maybe like 13-ish, something. I don't know. It was a long time ago. But even at that age, like, I was super pumped that it had that old style, like, artwork kind of poster, like, collage kind of style, you know. But then, like, after, I think maybe the third one is when they just started doing the basic, just, like, photo poster. And I got bummed out, man. It was, I don't know. I'm such a hard ass for, like, consistency. And that bummed me out, too. Like, so now my DVD set has, like, 2 really cool covers.
Yeah.
And then also after that, like, even just, like, the material, like, the first 2 were, like, the DVDs were, like, the cardboard slipcase and, like, they're, like, the fold-out cardboard. And then after that, I just went to, like, the regular, like, cheap plastic snap case. I was like, son of a...
I never understood the 2 locking mechanisms.
Yeah.
On the side. Like, why?
I just don't, man. Like, you're making enough money. Just give me the cardboard case and make my OCD happy for the entire series.
Yeah. It's so... Those posters are so cool because there's so much detail in them. If you look at it, there's so much going on in those posters. Like, there's multiple scenes from movies in there. All the characters are in there. It's a synopsis for the poster. It's like a synopsis for the movie.
It tells you what it is
without the words.
Yeah, the first thing I did was zoom in on it and just kind of scroll around and look at every little detail, try to find all the characters, and I agree, and it definitely gives you a feel of what the movie's gonna be like. Whereas now, the marketing side of like movie posters is either like all blue color tinted stuff or like all. What are the 2 colors they use? One's like either blue, and I think one's like yellow. Yeah. Like are the 2 like main colors they use to like to sell posters or movies with the movie posters, but yeah.
Yeah, it's like one of my favorite posters is the Empire Strikes Back poster. That's probably my favorite poster. Yeah. That is such a cool poster. And there's multiple versions of like the Star Wars posters. But the one that has like you see Han Solo embracing Princess Leia in the poster. And I think it's got like Darth Vader at the top, and it's got purple and blue hues and whatnot. Like, and you see, I think the Snow Speeder, and it's got all the characters in it. And there's a Tauntaun in there. Like, you're just seeing everything. And I think the Taunt's at the bottom, so like you have the beginning, the bottom of the movie, and it's escalating. And you got the middle, Han and Princess Leia, and then you get the top, Darth Vader. Here. Like, it's like you have all the structure in the poster and artwork. Yeah, and like I said, it's the poster is telling a story. What this movie's going to be. It's what's going to sell. It's what's going to sell you. Yeah, that's the thing too. And like to do that, like the artist to do that had to watch the movie and had to give a shit about the movie. Whereas the photographer taking a picture of like the lead character and then photoshopping them into like whatever. Yeah, it's definitely a different feel. Yeah, I prefer it, but. Now we just sound like old nerds. I know, we sound like old people. Everything sucks. Movies suck these days.
Photoshop is the worst.
Yeah, it's movie posters have, gone on the wayside a little bit in detail, and it goes with I guess technology maybe. Yeah. You have everything is easy. Now, technology, everything is... Max, you're in trouble.
My dog just hopped on the couch, and he's not supposed to.
everything is easy now. Everything's a click of a button. You take a photograph, put it on the poster.
Yeah.
Or you, even with movies and using computer graphics.
Yeah.
As opposed to using practical effects. Mm-hmm. When I'm watching a movie and I see computer graphics, I don't want to know it's computer graphics.
Yeah.
I want it to, it's like natural when I'm watching the movie. Like I don't know that that's CGI. Whatever. But when I watch a movie and it's like, it looks like a video game cutscene.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh no.
Yeah, it's I mean, I know it's the backwards way of thinking, kind of, because, like, with technology, the shift has been that CGI... At one point, CGI was expensive and only used as a necessity.
Yeah.
As, obviously, technology's gotten better, it's flipped where CGI is the easier route and practical effects are just too much work or expensive or whatever it is. And I just feel like it needs to go back the other way. Like, I can, like... I don't know. There's just something... Sometimes CGI is great.
Yes. The movie calls for it.
Yeah.
When it calls for it, then it's great.
Yeah, and sometimes it can look great, but then sometimes there's just something... I don't know. There's just something that your eye... and like, when you're watching a movie and your brain is, like, immersed in this world, most often your eye can kind of tell when something isn't tangible and, like... doesn't match like the rest of like the palette. You know what I mean?
Sometimes the actor doesn't even know how to act in front of the green screen.
It just takes me out of it sometimes. I feel like it should be all practical and then CGI when you need it, rather
absolutely.
than all CGI and then practical sometimes.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. It's not the first person to say that. But it just goes back to, I think, like, there's definitely a want and like a need for it. Like, even again, going back to music, like with all the advancements and like all the technology and stuff and like new albums coming out, like there's a reason that, and I buy music now the same way. I feel there's a reason that a lot of like artists will release new albums in packages, and a lot of those packages are vinyl, and then you get a free download of the album.
Sure.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I'll do that every day. I'll do that all day, every day, because I can get... I mean, I want to have a record player, but two is just like... A vinyl feels a little bit more collectible.
Yeah.
It's something you can hold. It's really cool. You can open it up and look at the artwork and all that kind of stuff. But then I can still just plug in my iPod and have it on... like, because, I mean, I'm not going to... Obviously, I use my iPod all the time in my car and stuff. You know what I mean? And same kind of thing. I feel like there's definitely a want to, like, have that older... With all the advancements, there's a want to have like the older style of stuff. So.
Well, you're interested. You're interested in how it was done.
Yeah.
Back in the day. Yeah, like you said. I mean, the product calls for it to be a crutch.
Yeah.
Then it fits. But if the product, if it needs to have a tool or a stepping stone to get the final product. That's even better.
Yeah.
I feel like it should always be utilized as a tool rather than a crutch or a dependency.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and then also part of me, like, once I see CG, like, not all CGI. Some CGI is great. Like, for example, we're going to go Harry Potter. The later movies, some of the early movies look really good, too. But there's definitely CGI, like, in the later movies. It's just fantastic. But, like, sometimes, I don't know, just, like, if I see... poor CGI, it takes me out of the movie, and then it upsets me because, especially if it's a movie that I know has like a shit ton of a budget.
Yeah,
like, there's no reason for like I've only seen one of the, I don't mean to like to shit on stuff, but I've only seen one of the Twilight movies because I worked at an event one time, and it was for a premiere for that movie, so I just sat and watched it. It was like one of the... I think it might have been like the second one. I don't know how many movies... Whatever.
Yeah.
I had no idea what was going on. It wasn't the first one, so I had no idea what was happening. But
I read 10 pages of the first book and got made fun of profusely in the boat. Navy. Like, this is not for me, I guess.
But yeah, like in that movie, like those movies made a shit ton of money, and by the time I watched whatever movie that was, it was probably like the second or third movie. They had a lot of money. There's no reason for that CGI of the werewolf or whatever it was to look so terrible. Like, it looked like a Super Nintendo game. Like, it's so bad.
So you watch Twilight, and then you watch American Werewolf in London.
So much better. So much better.
The thing might be anima-fucking-tronic.
It looks good.
A puppet or whatever.
Yeah.
But it looks so good. There's so much detail put into it. It looks real.
Well, and the thing is, too, actors can react to it better. Like what you were saying before. Like, I don't know, man. I'm not an actor, but I feel like if I had to act opposite of, like, a tennis ball.
Yeah.
And then, like, there's no way, dude. Like, I'd rather act in front of a puppet than a tennis ball.
You better get your acting skills up, sir.
Oh, yeah, for that script. Yeah. I'm going to read it over.
But yeah. Obviously, you know that if the movie calls for it, you know, like the superhero movies, you got to have it. You can't.
Sure.
There's no way.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, and they've done it really well.
Yeah, they have.
I mean, for the most part, I can't think of like a bad. I mean, I can think of like maybe when the CGI wasn't up to snuff yet, and you could tell. But like, there's stuff that was just done. I don't feel like there's stuff that was done that could have been done with practical.
Right.
Yeah.
Have you seen the Fantastic Four movie that was released in like the early '90s or something like that?
I've seen like snippets of
it. The Thing's costume is just like orange.
Yeah.
Styrofoam.
Yeah, that's the thing too. Like in that respect, like for example, the Hulk in the new Marvel movies, great. Like you would never have been able to do that. You would have had to do the same old Lou Ferrigno body paint. You know what I mean?
I love how he is in Incredible Hulk.
Yeah.
He gets the pizza.
Yeah. That's the thing. Like, and it looks great, and like that's awesome. Definitely use it. It looks so good. And then also, like, the cool part of it is like you can still see. I mean, again, they make a ton of money and they can afford it, but like even in that character, the Incredible Hulk, you can still see Mark Ruffalo's facial features like in the character and whatever. So like, it's. I don't know.
The opening scene in Age of Ultron is like.
Oh, dude!
A huge splash page.
So fun. Yeah, like it's just comic. It's just a comic book.
Yeah, you got this huge comic boner. I mean, a comic nerd.
Bonic.
Yeah. But so you got a boner.
It was so good. That movie felt. I some people shit on it, and I don't. Maybe, I don't know, that's part of the thing too. I've stopped going into movies with expectations or reading hype or whatever. I love that movie because it really felt like watching a comic book, because especially like that party scene in it, like...
That's probably my favorite scene in the whole movie.
Yeah, because you have just like, like in comics, you'll just have, even if it's just like a one panel conversation with a character from a whole different book, but they're still in the universe... That party scene at Avengers Tower in Age of Ultron felt like that, because it had like characters from all the movies there just hanging out, and they all knew each other, and like you've never seen two of those characters like talk to each other before, and they're all hanging out. And, you know what I mean? It was really cool.
And then leave it to Tony Stark to create something and wreck the whole damn party. Yeah, he is Marvel's greatest villain. Yeah, he creates all the problems.
He does. Just stop. Get him away from the booze, man.
Stop making things.
And he's an alcoholic with $1 billion.
But I'm excited for Spectre coming out in a couple weeks. Because I've seen some behind the scenes footage of the actual practical effects and stunts, the stunt work that they're doing for it. And it's like going back to old school Bond.
That's awesome.
Like, I'm so excited.
Yeah. I need to catch up. Again, one of those movies, those franchises I never watched as a kid. Yeah. James Bond. Take my main card.
That was like religion.
Yeah.
in the Pratt family household.
Yeah. And I mean, I don't know why I didn't really watch any of that stuff growing up, other than, and also, when I was a kid, I'm very open to the idea that I just didn't give a shit, and I just like shiny stuff. When I used to watch the Batman animated series all the time as a kid. I could not tell you, until I rewatched them now as an adult. I couldn't tell you any of the nuances or the story arcs or anything. When I was a kid, it was just Batman beating people up.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
hell out of the Joker or whatever.
Like, I didn't care.
I didn't know that it was Mark Hamill's voice till like a few years ago.
Yeah.
Had no idea.
Oh, so good.
I mean, I knew he did the video games,
Yeah.
sure, but I never knew like that it was him.
Yeah, that cast, dude. And that's a strange thing. That's like one of the strange instances where like a show or whatever it is influences the actual source material so much, like, because so much even like, I mean, Harley Quinn was created on the show. Like, she wasn't in the comics.
Who was it that created her?
I can't remember. And she's like one of the best characters, dude. She's such an interesting character to me. But like, yeah, just where like stuff, it doesn't happen where like a show or a movie will, like, it's usually vice versa, where the movie or whatever will be just kind of like a mirror kind of tweak to the source material. But like, that show definitely did its own stuff and like just like laid groundwork for a lot of other of just the canon going on out. So, and
then Batman Forever and Batman and Robin were created.
The best.
Yeah, I love them. I mean, the Batman card or whatever. He's got.
Chill out. You need to cool down.
No. Freeze. No,
But those movies too, man. Those were just all flashy colors and eye candy.
You know, I did when I was growing up. I did like Batman Forever when it came out.
When I was a kid, again, it was the same thing. It was just Batman beating people up, and I was all about it.
I was. There's when I came in here and I saw the paintings when I was gonna, and you get the new table too.
Yes.
I was gonna go, I simply love what you've done with the place. But every time I say that to somebody, I always think of Batman Forever when the Riddler just like intrudes in Two-Face's lair.
Yeah.
And I think Drew Barrymore is like one of the girls with him, and he's like, I simply love what you've done with the place. Heavy metal meets home and garden.
And dude, I'll say it. I don't mind Jim Carrey as the Riddler.
I thought he was great.
I thought he did pretty well.
Yeah.
Tommy Lee Jones as Two-Face was terrible because he was just doing Jack Nicholson's Joker the entire. Like Tommy Lee Jones Two-Face was just Jack Nicholson's Joker with different makeup.
Pretty much.
It was like he was playing the same character. I felt like.
Yeah. Yeah.
It didn't feel like Harvey Dent. It felt like the Joker.
Yeah.
But
I wasn't really much of a Batman fan at that age when those movies came out. You know, and I watched the TV show with Adam West with my dad and whatnot. And I growing up, I did not like the Burton Batman. Like
Tim Burton, yeah.
I wasn't a fan of it. Batman Returns, I think I liked a little more when I was a kid. I don't know why.
Yeah.
I think it's because there was like more colorful, maybe. I don't.
Yeah, I mean that's the thing too. Like it was definitely like I've read, and I think I mentioned this on the episode with Jason that we talked about a lot of Batman stuff. But like, it was just made to be colorful, popcorn, kid friendly. Like, and I think Schumacher would tell people on set that like they're making. Like, they'll tell people to remember that they're making a cartoon.
Yeah.
They're making a live-action cartoon, which I can see... I don't know. I can see how you would think that.
Sure.
Like, and honestly, had that not happened, then we wouldn't have gotten the Dark Knight trilogy.
Absolutely.
Or any of the other, like, had Fantastic Four... Well, I mean, that's probably a bad example, because...
What's wrong with you?
Well, I was gonna say had, like, the Fantastic Four from, like, the early 2000s or whatever.
Yeah.
Not been as great, but then the new one apparently is trash too. So, but like, it's weird to see how they learn what works, converting like source material to the screen and seeing. It's kind of almost trial and error. Like,
what sounds good on paper, like it always sounds good on paper.
Yeah.
Like, and I was watching a documentary yesterday of Pierce Brosnan's last Bond movie, Die Another Day, and they were saying like this on script, it's awesome.
Yeah,
like it looks like it's going to be a good movie, but when it's made, they just missed it. They didn't hit the mark.
Yeah,
and they went overboard, and it just derailed completely.
Yeah, and it's weird. I mean, and then also going from script to final product, especially with a major picture, like there's so many hands in the cookie jar that like. it's amazing that, one, anything gets made, and two, if it's made good, is just, like, a phenomenon. But yeah, it's weird. Like, all intents and purposes, like, it could be, like, Schumacher's Batman could have been great. Like, I would say maybe they went into it with the wrong mentality of, like, it feels like they went into it, like, wanting to sell toys and stuff like that. Yeah. But at that point, of course, like, that's kind of, like, the first foray into, like, this huge blockbuster phenomenon of Batman, and, like, of course, the target audience eating it up is kids. Like, so anybody at a movie studio would say, yeah, cater to that. Like, that's what's gonna make it good.
And yeah. And, like, that's what's crazy about Nolan's Batmans is that, do you remember toys being released for those? Like,
no, just like the collector type stuff.
Because, like, I don't think a kid would buy Heath Ledger's Joker, like, action figure. Like, that shit is terrifying for a child.
Yeah, like, I imagine, like, they made that stuff, but, like, definitely more of, like, I see figures being made, not like the small action figure, actual playable stuff. Yeah, for kids. But I mean, I could be wrong.
I remember the Tumblr. They had those, I think, and they had, like, the big dumbass versions of Batman. You could buy. I don't.
Oh yeah, the giant,
like,
the 2 foot tall ones.
Yeah, like, you can move I'm moving my arms, like, you guys can see me,
like a robot.
But you could move the arms up and down, and I think the legs maybe could.
Yeah.
Actually, they probably didn't move, but, like, there wasn't a big market for that, but that's what that franchise needed. Sometimes franchises need to go back to the basics. Yeah. And they have to they have to go back to the roots. Yeah. And go back to what makes that character. Sure. Which Nolan's, I mean, it's very earnest. Mm-hmm. It's very down to earth. It's like you're not really watching a Batman movie almost. You're watching a detective story. And I mean, Batman is the greatest detective. So. Yeah. I mean, obviously everyone, I mean, I don't say everyone. Most people think that those are great. But, like, yeah, and, like, at first when I heard they were right after Dark Knight Rises came out, and there were rumors that DC was gonna reboot Batman, I was pretty bummed and like, man, why? Too. There's, like, I get it, but, like, wait. Like, I think if the movie had just come out when they announced that they were gonna do it, but I mean, I'm pumped for the new one. I really hope. God. Like, I'm going in with blind hope that DC is gonna do something great, but, like, I don't know, man. It's a interesting take on, and I think it's smart, especially with the Dark Knight. Like, you saw a different take, but you saw a take on Batman meeting the Joker, right? That, like, we don't need to see another Peter Parker origin story. Exactly. So, like, I'm interested in this new one that the Batman and Joker relationship has already been a thing for many years, and, like, they're all old, and they've been older and have been through, like, their relationship, and it's an established relationship that the viewer's coming into, you know? I don't need to see Thomas and Martha Wayne get gunned down in Crime Alley. Again. But you've already saw in the previews that I think I forgot the actor's name. He's in Supernatural. He plays the dad. Mr. Winchester, I think that's his name. I don't know his first name. Yeah, I know what you're talking about. But I think he's Thomas Wayne, and I think in the previews you already see the pearl snap, and, you know, there's a gunfire, and so we're going to see that again. It looks like, I don't know. Yeah,
but and that's the thing too. Like, I mean, I also get the fact that, like, make it like new audiences, new kids and stuff are going to be seeing it and stuff. So I mean, I don't know.
Yeah, you gotta always reach out to that target demographic and that generation that's out there. Yeah, you know.
I don't know. I don't make these decisions.
Yeah, I don't either. I want to be a filmmaker big time. Yeah, but I'm not there yet to do this instead. Yeah,
just give us our
Zack Snyder.
Our artsy posters, and then we'll be happy.
I think Ben Affleck's gonna kill it. I think he's gonna knock it out of
the park. I'm excited. So I mean, like I said, I could be wrong. I hope I'm not. And I'm excited for it. I think it's going to be good.
The source material they're going from, Frank Miller's Dark Knight Returns, that's like the quintessential best Batman story. Man. Yeah.
So, cool. I knew, man, we dived way deep into Batman.
How long have we been doing this?
An hour and 10 minutes.
That is fun. Yeah. That is a fun time.
Anything else you want to talk about, or you feeling good?
I'm feeling pretty good. So...
Cool.
We'll have to get together for the James Bond viewings.
Yes, for sure. Maybe after this, maybe. I don't know.
I think I think my girlfriend Ashley is just coming over. I'm not sure.
Fine.
I don't know if she's seen the Craigs, the Daniel
The
Craigs.
Daniel Craig movies.
Well, maybe she has, because I don't think she said she didn't like Daniel Craig too much. But, relationship over.
It sounds like something you need to handle on your own time. All right, dude. Do you want to say the tagline?
Oh, yeah. I almost thought of a different tagline for a second. This isn't the right podcast. Listen to too much. Well, folks, hey, could be worse.
Woo. Bye.